Hello again, everybody. We're hurtling towards the end of the day, so this is our last session of the day. It's one of those subjects which I think we've been teasing you with all day, so we're now going to get into the bones of it. So the Fintech Innovation Challenge, we are, as of today, launching the Fintech Innovation Challenge, and we're delighted to announce Deloitte are supporting the delivery of the challenge. So let's recap as to why we are doing an Innovation Challenge. The challenge forms a building block of the wider Isle of Man FinTech strategy. We're doing this alongside the Innovation Hub, working alongside Finance Isle of Man and the Isle of Man FSA, and we're also doing it alongside the InsurTech Accelerator. Those components and some wider thinking will come together to form an effective FinTech strategy for the Isle of Man moving forward. This challenge is going to accelerate the delivery of those foundational elements that's required to build a FinTech ecosystem. We've done a lot of work on this in the last 6 months with many of you in the room, working with Deloitte in the early parts, and part of what we focused on was that FinTech taxonomy. What's required to start this off? What are the foundations? And that's the focus of this. And this challenge has been very much shaped by our existing businesses on Ireland, by both the financial and digital businesses that we work closely with. So it's as much the challenge for the island as much as it is for Digital Isle of Man, Finance Isle of Man and the FSA. So with that, I'm delighted to invite Deloitte on stage to give us a bit more of an in-depth detail about how this is going to work, what the challenge is, and to bring it to life.
So much. Thanks, Lyle. And listen, first of all, let me just say I'm absolutely delighted to be here. My accent gives me away a little bit. I'm not a native. I come from a little place called Hawick in the Scottish borders, which I think is still covered in the regional news. So I guess I do consider myself somewhat of a local. So thanks for having me. It's my first time on the island, and I love it. It's so nice to arrive in an airport where people smile at you and are friendly and warm, and it's quite nice and easy to navigate. So absolutely love it. So my name is Kent Mackenzie. This is Charlotte.
Yeah, for some of you that attended earlier panel sessions, you'll know my name already, but I'm Charlotte Bale. I lead our advisory offering in the Isle of Man.
Cool. We're great friends. We've done a lot of work together in this space before. So I'm a partner in our advisory business. I have been for the last 8 years or so. And I have had the pleasure of working with ecosystems in all manner of corners of the globe and developing FinTech structures and systems to support FinTech in thriving in the region in which it's pioneering. My first foray into this, again, accent dead giveaway, was with FinTech Scotland, where we mandated quite early on that FinTech was going to be a specific area of focus and acceleration. That was way back in 2016, and have sort of set out on that journey in that ecosystem for a number of years now. And when I look at what you have here, the hallmarks and the characteristics are so consistent, it kind of sends a bit of a shiver down my spine. So really delighted to be involved in the challenge and involved with you guys as you go through this journey. I noticed for the first time ever I've got a wee counter here that's counting down my time, so I'm going to get on with it because I don't want to get the sort of yellow card raised at me. But a couple of things I wanted to cover, and then I'll maybe pass over to Charlotte just to talk about how this has come about. So I guess first of all, what is a challenge? I mean, it's fair to say every ecosystem that I've ever worked in, an innovation challenge has been really the centerpiece to accelerating innovation and development. It's really all about being clear on how you elevate and capitalize on innovation that can come into the region. It's really important that it is focused on problems that need to be solved. So I've seen a lot of, I guess, what I might call innovation theatre in some places where it's attempting to solve problems that don't exist. So it's really important that we focus in on challenges that exist across the industry, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. Clearly, it's all about compelling and linking together an ecosystem. You have the benefit of, I think the term that was used earlier was being light on your feet and being able to move really, really quickly and connect really sensibly. So the innovation challenge is all about really kind of supercharging those connections and that proximity the different capabilities and skills that you have. There was a lot of talk in the last panel as well about the next generation of talent. So this is really all about kind of lighting a fire under that generation of talent that's coming through, and all those nascent, dormant ideas that are out there, putting an arm around those and creating an infrastructure that can bring them to the surface and really get around them. And then finally, one of the most important things that I've learned is the ability to shout about what you're doing is really, really key and shouldn't be underestimated. One of the things that I learned in Scotland is that we're typically very Scottish and we don't shout about what we do very often. So it's really important that as you come through this, you kind of make a point of whooping and cheering and announcing that this island has arrived on the global stage, and here are all the wonderful things that are being done around innovation. So super, super important to get around this challenge, to contribute to it, to support it, and then not be shy in shouting about it. Right, the jigsaw.
Yeah, the jigsaw. So this slide, I suppose, is just to highlight the ways in which everyone in this room can get involved in this innovation challenge. So the first of its kind on the Isle of Man. And it's really important. The success of the challenge will largely depend on how well the stakeholders within the Isle of Man ecosystem and further afield are engaged. As part of the planning and framing stage of this innovation challenge, we put out a survey to stakeholders in the Isle of Man, and just some kind of key poignant points there. 89% saw an increase in use of technology, with digital identity in particular, and tech for enterprise being two key areas of focus. 67% of the responses indicated that they were likely to invest in fintech in the next year, so 2/3 of who we surveyed. And then 93% of the participants we surveyed said they would like to stay involved in the innovation challenge going forward, which is really encouraging at this stage. And so with that, and with everyone in the room, I think it's wise just to kind of identify the ways in which you can get involved. So it could be as a challenge judge. So we're looking for companies with experience in the financial services industry to be involved at the selection and qualifying stages, as well as judging at the final event. The challenge participants, so these are fintech companies that have proof of concepts that will address the solutions or the challenge statements that we will shortly be going through. A challenge supporter, so this could be any business within the ecosystem that can help during the contextualization stage, and what I mean by that is providing space, mentorship, possibly financial support, but more importantly giving industry insight and providing that mentorship to the applicants. And then the challenge audience, so this will be companies, financial services industry on the Isle of Man that will benefit from the solutions. So they're the four key roles that you could play, and we very much encourage you to think about how you would want to be involved, and we'll give details on how you can do that shortly.
Brilliant, cool. So the jigsaw's dead important. It's really important that people get involved and people support this and get around it. Again, I'll not bore you with 8 years worth of history in doing this, but the ecosystem only works when everybody kind of gets involved and plays their part. So I would encourage you as much as possible to bring the time and focus and support into this. You gave a little bit of a spoiler alert on the topic, so we're going to cover just, I guess, specifically where the challenge is going to focus. And I kind of come back to the point I made earlier about it's really, really important that one focuses on problems that are perennial, that are consistent, and that are truly and genuinely problems that are trying to be solved. So build hammers that look for nails. Here's the nails. So these are where the challenges are going to focus. So number one, digital identity. So how do we revolutionize the way in which all of our digital identities are created, stored, shared, and done so in a way that's compliant and in complete respect and recognition of data privacy mandates and remits. And of course the world of privacy and how our own personal data is managed will ebb and flow and shift. So what does the next generation of those solutions look like? And how can they really bring forward a change in the way in which identity is managed at the moment? It's a massively important space. Number two, somewhat linked to that, but the world of KYC, so know your customer or know your business, KYC, KYB. So it's a very, very convoluted process that requires multiple steps and stages of validation and compliance checks and data aggregation layers. And it's fair to say that it's pretty clunky the way in which it's managed right now. And the onset of open data and the democratization of financial data means that this space is absolutely ripe for innovation. It will probably not be lost on any of you that this is a space that, there are some things coming through, and it's a space that's ready to be positively disrupted. So those are the first two. Charlotte?
Yeah, and then the last two. So challenge statement 3 is around compliance and transaction monitoring. So again, relevant to financial services industries on the Isle of Man, but fraud prevention and risk management for the compliance professionals in the room will be very familiar with this. But the technology that can be applied and to streamline and transform this process using AI or machine learning, even looking at sanction screening, which obviously recent history tells us is important and challenging, but how can tech be applied in that field? And then I suppose the exciting one, which is the wildcard statement. So we don't want to limit it to just these 3 areas. They are important areas. They are ones we've already identified as being pain points within the Isle of Man financial services industry. But what if there is a fintech company out there that has a solution, and it isn't a hammer hitting, whatever the phrase you used was, but it absolutely is a problem they see exists in the Isle of Man, and why restrict it to those 3? So we encourage as innovative and as bold solutions to come forward as possible.
Cool. I wanted the wild card one. That's kind of my favourite topic, but been a wild card all my career. So those are the challenge statements. Spread the word. So the FinTech Innovation Challenge is now open. Where's the confetti cannon? Well, there we go. There we go. It's now open. Lyle promised me that one of those big confetti cannons, but hey ho, hey ho. Listen, thank you again for having us. We are absolutely delighted and absolutely buzzing to be working with you on this. Our commitment to you is we'll absolutely be around it locally with the full weight of our firm. I will share the 8 years worth of experience as we go through this. I'll share the good, the bad, the ugly, and you've got the commitment of our firm to get around this and leverage our networks to make sure that this is a success. It undoubtedly will be. So thank you so much. We've got time left. A
couple of admin points.
Yeah.
So if you do log on to this landing page, you'll have the opportunity to register your interest, select even one of the 4 areas that you might want to participate in, and leave your details so that we can keep you updated as the journey progresses. So yeah, have a look. If anything has resounded with you, please register your interest.
Can I just ask a question? Is it always this windy on the Isle of Man? Is it?
This is perfect.
Great. I mean, it creates quite a kind of atmosphere around the place. I love it. It quite kind of froths up the excitement, doesn't it? Cool. Well, listen, that's us, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you so much. Lyle, I'll hand back to you. I think we are between drinks, so I should probably hand back to you and let people go and refresh themselves. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.